Welcome back. Now this isn't one of my usual videos. This is me stepping out of my comfort zone a little bit. And you know I'm a lover of charity shops, and last week, or maybe the week before, I visited one of the bigger brand charity shops that's in my area, and I was really attracted to a particular container. It looks very much like a flying saucer shape, and I did a bit of research. I couldn't find a great deal of information about it, so I asked lots of florist friends, and I thought you could come along with me on this journey of sort of exploration. Now inside the bubble wrap is this fairly flat container, and for me it had a bit of an oriental feel to it. The front is quite heavily textured with this half moon decoration on one side, and the internal section is a very light bluey green, almost like a sea green. But the back side has this gorgeous texture, almost like slate. I was instantly attracted to it and I dived for it. It only cost me, I think it was £3, maybe £5, I'm not quite sure. And I thought I'd take it home, do a bit of research and find out a little bit of information about it. It definitely has that sort of Ikebana inspiration to it. Now, I'm not an expert on Ikebana. I know very little about its cultural and symbolic reference. So this is the arrangement I'm going to do is my interpretation of an Ikebana style arrangement. I don't want to upset anybody and I don't want to give you any information that's incorrect. This is just how I think quite a simple arrangement would work in this container. Now, not only do I have this interesting top section, but it also came, and I've protected it with my life over the last week, it also came with this little tripod stand. And I've asked lots of flower arranging friends if they can identify and give me some information about it. And it turns out it's Brooker, and he's well known for creating this type of design. And if you understand and know about pottery, then it's quite identifiable as Brooker container. Now it sits magically on top of that little tripod stand. And what I'm going to attempt to do, this might be a disaster, but I'm going to attempt to arrange in a pin holder that's going to be placed in this section here. Now ideally I should have bought myself a well pin holder, and that's a pin holder that contains its own supply of water. But I wasn't thinking straight when I picked up my pin holders this morning. So I'm going to use this small little pin holder, and if you're not familiar with these, then these were used before floral foam was invented, and they're used for lots of Japanese style flower arrangements as well as many other applications. On the bottom I've put some Oasis Fix, and I'm going to push it into the base there so that it adheres to the bottom. Now if I had a well pin holder, I would be able to just fill the pin holder with water, but I didn't think about bringing one of those in. So what I will have to do now is to fill this container with fresh clean water. But you can see there how that fits neatly into the little hole, and you can see where I'm going to arrange my flowers from. Right, I think that's quite flat and quite stable. We'll start by placing the water into the bottom. Now obviously if I don't fill it enough with water, there's not going to be enough to keep my flowers and foliage alive. It's probably, that choice of pin holder is probably not the best, but it's going to do for today. Now I don't want to cover this beautiful base. I want to keep that as clear as possible. And from one of the videos I did last week, I've still got a few, they're not gerbera, I've got a few irises here. And I'm going to just use 3 very simple gerbera. It's not a gerbera, it's an iris. I've been arranging with gerbera this morning. Now this one has that lovely natural curve. If I wanted to create some downward movement, then I could turn it in this position. But I quite like the way that is bending over. What we sort of need to remember is that I'm not creating an outline shape. We're not thinking of those geometric shapes. It's more like a form linear design where you allow the flowers to speak for themselves. So what I'm now going to do is insert those into that pin holder. So I've now stabbed, maybe not a good description, but I've now inserted my irises into the spikes of the pin holder, and I'll take a close-up photograph of that later so you can see it as well. So my irises are probably about 3 days old, so they're not the freshest of irises, but they're going to be ideal for this job because you can really clearly see the shape that I'm trying to create. Now I don't want to hide the first flower with my second flower, so I need to give lots of space between them, but I do really love the way that is curving around. I'm only going to use some irises and some foliage, but you could add some twisted willow in there or some contorted hazel, soft grasses, but because it's the first time I've used this container, I'm going to stay quite simple and quite basic with my selection of flowers. Now I'm sure if you were an expert on Ikebana and you knew a little bit more about the symbolism and the cultural references of this style of arranging, you would probably arrange these in a different way. And if you're an expert, I do apologise, you might be shouting at the screen now and saying, Sharon, don't do it like that. But I'm just really casually arranging them. I've gone probably quite traditionally about twice the width of my container so that I'm drawing my eye away, and I'm also allowing you to see all the beautiful textural interest in the base. Now what I need to do is to cover the pin holder with some foliage, and today I'm going to use either Camellia and Fat's Hedera or just the Fat's Hedera, which are those big palmate leaf. And the two have been crossbred so that we get a Fat's Hedera. So the stem of the Fat's Hedera is too thin for me to actually get it onto the spike of the pin holder. So we're almost going to work in between. And I'm going to anchor the stem in between the spikes of the pin holder. I may even need to impale it on its side to hold it in that side position. But for a moment, let me just spin that round and then I can bring the camera in close so that you can see how that's positioned. Now I think that's worked out quite well together. I did say it was a bit of a journey and I wasn't sure how it was going to work out. There's a small amount of the pin holder showing from this top section here. So I'm gonna use some more of the Camellia, or not necessarily more of the Camellia, the first lot of the Camellia, and what I'm making sure is going to happen is that the stem of the Camellia is attached somewhere onto that pin holder and is down low enough so that it has access to the water. Small little bit I think there at the back, and I think I'm done. Quite enjoyed that experience. Now this would work really well at this time of year with dahlias as well. I just felt that the blue tone of the iris was going to work well with the greys in the base. But what do we think? Do I get a clap for that one? Something that, as a commercial florist, I never got the opportunity to learn arranging in pin holders. So this is sort of self-taught through watching other people arrange with pin holders. I grew up in the era where floral foam was used. So these techniques and skills are something that I'm mastering as time goes on. But I think that's lovely. What a base. What a find. I did go back to the same charity shop in the hope that I would find another container like this, but there was nothing there. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for participating in my experimental design. I hope you like it. Please subscribe to the channel. Go back and look at all the other tutorials that are on here. There's some with foam, there's some with natural mechanics. Now we've got one with a pin holder as well. So there's so much for you to look at and so much for you to learn. So thank you as ever for watching. It really, really does mean a lot to me that you come back week after week to watch. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and hit that notification bell so you know when I've uploaded a new tutorial. I look forward to seeing you very soon, and bye for now.